Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lamp.
All right, well, yesterday we caught up with Richard Dawkins from Federated Farmers. They have been pushing back at ACT's policy backing hunters, which proposes handing game animal management to hunters. So I thought what we'd do is we'll have a chat to the ACT Deputy Leader and Associate Minister of Justice, Nicole McKee. Nicole, g'day, welcome to the show. Really appreciate your time. This ACT backing hunters policy aims to put hunters in charge of game animals and fund backcountry volunteers. Also shift some of the management from DOC to the Game Animal Council. Federated Farmers have pushed back and they're raising concerns that putting hunters in charge of game animals might basically result in an explosion of numbers. Are you worried about their concerns, or have you spoken to them about it?
No, I've not spoken to them since they came out with their, I guess, their version of our policy. A little bit concerned about the way that they've gone about it, and also the rhetoric that they're putting out there that hunters won't kill animals because they want to protect them. That's not what this is all about. And I encourage Federated Farmers to read the policy a bit more clearly, but also go and have a look at the statutory requirements of the Game Animal Council, because they were set up as a body to manage game animals and have not been given the teeth or the money to be able to do so. And when we look at the Department of Conservation, they're failing. They're failing in their ability to be able to manage those animals. And we've got hunters throughout the country who go out there and do hunt. They do their bit for conservation. And in fact, if they weren't, I would have expected to see more animals on farmland destroying it than what we already have. So it's a balance, Andy. I think that we need to be able to actually manage these game animals because they are not being managed at the moment. Utilise the hunters to be able to do so because they're already doing it. Let's recognise them for doing that. And also empower the Game Animal Council, the statutory body that was set up to actually manage game animals. And that's what our policy is all about.
I guess it comes back to trust, though. Federated Farmers, from what I can see, are pointing out that hunters, some of them, do like to manage the trophy animals and potentially will do that almost to the detriment of the numbers. I mean, are you sure that this policy will result in pest management?
Yes, I am sure, because as I just mentioned, what we have in place at the moment isn't working. It's not doing the job. So we use the body that has been set up to actually manage it. This isn't just about trophy animals, and there are many hunters out there, myself included, who until recently, after decades of being out there hunting, I wasn't interested in game heads or trophy heads. Yes, there's part of our sector that manage that, but they are not the entirety of the sector. And the Game Animal Council, as I keep saying, have been set up to do this. We need to empower them to do their job. They are a statutory body. They've been around for a while, but they've just not been given any teeth.
They also raised concerns specifically around the Himalayan tahr. And I know they are not considered, they're not in the special herd at the moment, but potentially it looks like it will be. They specifically said that those animal numbers are increasing significantly. And I spoke to Rich and I said, well, aren't they like mountain animals? And he said, no, their numbers are coming down and they are causing significant problems in the lowlands. Does that concern you?
I think when we start getting overbreeding of certain types of animal, we do need to look at how we control them. But the current DOC Act says that they must be completely exterminated. Now, I don't agree with that either, and I think that we need to look at a plan. We have discussed whether or not HOSI should be introduced, the herds of special interest for tahr and for the Stewart Island white-tailed deer as well. They are a special species that we have here in New Zealand. They should be looked after, but they also should be hunted. Again, it's about management of our game animals, not just letting them breed till they're out of control, but managing those numbers. And complete extermination of some of these animals, I think is, I don't agree with, and the ACT Party doesn't agree with it either. It's managing them, not exterminating them.
Yeah, from my sense, from when talking to Richard and Feds, they're not opposed to hunters. In fact, a lot of them are hunters themselves. They're just worried about the conflicting priorities, and when push comes to shove, where will the Game Animal Council fall down? What side of the pendulum will they go onto? And I guess that was their concern, and that's why they're raising it.
I mean, if you have a look at what we're discussing, it's about going onto public land, not private land. And I think federated farmers should take some, I don't know, some comfort in the fact that we'll have hunters on public land that will be able to hunt, because we're looking at access onto the public land as well, so that they can get to more areas to be able to harvest the game animals that are out there. Now, if they can do that on public land, it means we'll have less animals going onto the farmland and private land. So I think it will be a win-win. And perhaps federated farmers can sit around the table once we get in next election and start to work through this, so that we can address their concerns before we put anything into law. I think that's important, having those conversations there and then, but I do think we're also on the right track. Come back again to the fact that DOC are failing. They're failing in their management of game animals. We have a statutory body set up to manage them. Let's use them, utilise them, go out to the community, ensure that we hear all of their concerns before we implement law. But we must do something.
What about then? What about the game management from broader pest control? That has been separated out. They have raised concerns about that. Pigs, goats, and osprey, like 1080 of controlling TB. Is that going to be a problem?
Again, I think it's something that we work through as we look at what the Game Animal Council, first of all, how much money we move from DOC to them to be able to do their job. And also just the makeup of the Game Animal Council. Have we got the expertise in there to be able to manage every single thing that has to do with game animal management, including other forms of management like you have suggested. I think that once we get this body actually empowered to do their statutory job, we will see a massive difference in the way that game animal management is held in New Zealand. But I do get the federated farmers have concerns. Look, I understand that, but I don't think that they should poo-hoo our entire policy, but rather look at it and look at the potential that we have, especially if we can all work together, make sure that we address their concerns, go after the game animals that the hunters actually need, utilise the hunters because they're out there all over the country doing this. And as you mentioned, so many farmers are hunters themselves. But we'll come back to the basic starting point. The Department of Conservation are failing the country when it comes to the management of game animals. So let's try something different.
Yeah, I just keep coming back to this point though. Pest animals, the use of 1080. I know a lot of hunters are just vehemently against it for the by kill, right? But it is, and whether you agree or disagree, it is a tool that is designed for pest eradication through its possum, stoats, and in some cases is deer. Just that. I just wonder where that tension and what the result of that will be. And I think that's at the root of federated farmers' concerns.
Yes, I think it probably is at the root of their concerns, and I understand that. It's at the root of the concerns of many, many people, including some of our constituents. You have to balance it up, right? We basically said in the 2023 election campaign, we don't agree as a party with 1080, but do realise it's got to be used in some areas where the hunters can't get to. Of course, the moment you start talking 1080, you end up having debates on both sides, and you're never going to keep people happy. But let's just look at the normal game animal management, the nature credits that we were talking about as well, to help encourage more people to get out there and hunt. And also another part of our policy was the infringement notices that we were wanting to impose on those that are impeding our hunters from lawfully hunting as well. So a support system for hunters. Recognise federated farmers aren't that happy about it, but look, let's get in. Let's sit around the table and then decide or work out together how we will have or affect this really great policy for hunters in the outdoors.
All right, there's a lot to come on this one. An interesting policy. I'm going to even have arguments with my own son on this one a lot. We already do. So you can tell how personal this one can be to a lot of people, and that's why I think it's really great we can talk about it. Hey, look, Nicole, I'm going to switch tacks now, and on a personal note, you are now the Associate Minister of Justice. Last night, the passing of the landmark arms bill, and I noted you said on a personal level, this is a very special moment. I came to Parliament 6 years ago with the goal of completely replacing the Arms Act 1983. Today, that goal has been achieved. It was put to me by a colleague that it was a very personal and very special evening for you. The korowai that you wore was very, very special, and I was asked to ask you about it specifically.
Yes, so 6 years ago, nearly 7 years ago actually, when I left the Council of Licensed Firearm Owners to pursue a career in politics and not knowing whether I was going to get in or not, they presented me with a korowai. And they told me that I will have around my shoulders the weight of 250,000 licensed firearm owners, no pressure. And that as I moved or manoeuvred through politics and trying to rewrite the arms bill, to think of them. And they put this korowai around my shoulders. And when I came into Parliament in 2020, I actually hung it on the wall in my office. And when I became a minister, I brought it into the beehive, and it's hanging on the wall in the beehive. And for every discussion that I've had around firearms, around policies that were going to stay, policies that were going to change, brand new policies, discussions with my colleagues, which got heated at times over stuff that we did, I would look up at the wall and look at the korowai. And I'm pointing at it actually, pointing at the korowai, and would remember why I was here. And actually, every morning I came into the beehive or came into Parliament, I would look at the wall and remind myself of why I'm here, just to root myself and ground myself. So when I gave my maiden speech, when I first came into politics, I wore that korowai, and I told them that I had the weight of the licensed firearm owners on my shoulders. And last night when we did the third reading, I took it down off the wall and I wore it again, because I was so proud that after 6 years I had achieved it. And I had people in my office actually say, "You visibly look like the weight has come off your shoulders." I just had relaxed so much. It's been quite intense last 6 years for me. So the korowai is very special. It's hanging back up on my wall. There's more work to be done here. We need to implement this bill. We need to do regulations next term. So it's back up on the wall because my job is not actually finished just yet.
Nicole, this is what makes you such an effective politician: passion, desire, and willingness to do the hard work against not what is popular, but what is right. So from me personally, well done. I know there's a lot of people will support you on this, and I think you've done an excellent job. Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to talking more, but just relax and be very satisfied with what you've achieved.
Thank you so much, Andy. And to all your listeners, firearm owners out there that have supported us, I just, thank you. You have been a bit of a backbone for me. Keep pushing me to keep going when things and times were getting rough and hard. So I appreciate that. And just a reminder, we have more work to do. So, Party Vote Act, if you want to see
Of course. Party Vote Act, why not? All right, Nicole McKee, Associate Justice Minister, thanks so much for your time. We will talk again.
Thanks, Andy.
Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lapp.